Good day to everyone. We are Group 8 and the title of our report is all about the teacher and the community. The relationship between teachers, schools, and the wider community is integral to the development of educational systems. Teachers serve as mediators between students, the school, the state, and the community. This report will explore the external environment that influences schools, the resource dependence perspective, how teachers and schools adapt to external standards such as national framework and globalization. And lastly, the teacher's role in the community and their interaction with the state. First, we will talk about external environment and accountability of schools. The open systems concept explains that schools and other organizations are closely connected to their surroundings and are affected by them. What happens outside the school, like social, cultural, and technological changes, impacts what happens inside the school. So sa madaling salita, kung ano ang nangyayari outside the school ay pwedeng ma-adopt or ma-influence inside the school. So for example, advancement in technology. So, di ba sa panahon natin ngayon, advanced na ang mga technology. So, anong nangyayari? Nafu-force yung schools to adapt by using new tools like TV or projectors. And syempre, hindi lang naman yung external environment yung nakaka-influence sa schools. Schools also influence their environments. For example, yung issues like bullying sa school, ang nangyayari, nagle-lead yun to new policies to address them. So, there's constant give and take between external environment and schools. So, to succeed, school administrators must understand and manage these external influences using frameworks like resource dependence and institutional perspectives to guide their decisions. The resource dependence perspective views the environment as a source of necessary resources for an organization to function. These resources include fiscal, personnel, information and knowledge, products, and services. So the researcher explains that these basic resources alone don't lead to school improvement. For example, having smaller class sizes. It won't help if teaching methods stay the same. And paying teachers more won't improve their effectiveness if they're burned out. So, he introduces different types of resources. The first one, simple resources, compound resources, complex resources, and lastly, abstract resources. So, this framework is a helpful way to think about resource dependence. Why? Because it suggests that simple inputs from the environment are insufficient for school effectiveness. So, in a simple way, in a simple explanation, it shows that abstract resources like trust and a positive school environment are stronger predictors of student success than just having more money or teachers. Schools with a rich, supportive environment help students and teachers perform better.
Availability of resources. Environmental resources. Pinapakita nito kung gaano kaya magbigay ng resources ang isang kapaligiran tungo sa pag-unlad ng isang organisasyon. Resource abundance. Kung sagana ang mga resources, mas madaling magtagumpay ang organisasyon at mas maraming layunin o gawain ang makakamit. Healthy resources. Kapag ang mga paaralan ay may parehong pananaw tungkol sa edukasyon, mas madaming makakabuo ng mga gamit na resources. Ito ay nakakatulong para sa mas magandang kalimidad ng pagtuturo. Affluent communities extend learning opportunities beyond school, exposing children to experience that support development and value education. Resource scarcity. Kapag may kompetisyon sa loob ng isang organisasyon, madalas na iniisip ng bawat subgroups ang kanilang sariling kapakinabangan. Impoverished districts. Limited to basic academic curricula with extracurricular programs competing for leftover resources. Impact of poverty and binatory representation. Reputation in the school leads to decreased connectable, responsible, openness to parents, and administrative support. Dependence is defined by the needs for a resource and its availability in the environment. Educational settings. Dito naman umaasa ang mga paaralan sa mga ibang organisasyon. Halimbawa, kung hindi kayang gumawa ng textbook ang paaralan, umaasa sila sa mga publisher. Resource dependence. Halimbawa dito, kung kailangan ng paaralan ng pondo at hindi ito makuha sa ibang paraan, aasa sila sa gobyerno o sa mga donasyon. Simple resources. Kailangan ng mga paaralan ng mga aklat at pondo mula sa iba. Supplier control. Supplier influence the availability, usage, and nature of resources in schools. Dumako naman tayo sa administer resources environment. Environmental factors. Maaring magbago ang kakayahan ng mga guro at paaralan dahil sa pagbabago sa kanilang organisasyon. Resource control. Ginagamit ng mga guro ang iba't ibang paraan para kontrolin ang mga resources at maiwasan ang sobrang pagkadepende sa mga ito. Dynamic environments. Ang environment ng paaralan ay patuloy na nagbabago, kaya't madaling mawalan ng kontrol kahit na gumamit ng mga estratehiya.
Adapting to external environment. Yung mga teachers, meron silang mahalagang papel hindi lamang sa paghubog sa experiences sa loob ng classroom, kung hindi sa mas malawak pang komunidad at sa pag-adapt sa mga various external factors na nagkakaroon ng impact sa edukasyon natin. Isa dito sa pag-a-adjust sa national standards and frameworks at internationalization. Talakayin natin ngayon kung ano ba talaga yung national standards and frameworks. Una dito ay yung curriculum alignment. Curriculum alignment, dapat naiaayon ng mga guro yung strategies ng pagtuturo sa national standards and frameworks na itinatag ng Department of Education sa atin para magkaroon ng mas magandang learning outcomes ang mga students. Pangalawa naman dito ay ang compliance with educational policies. Dito naman, nire-require ang mga educators or ang mga teachers na sundin ang national education policies na sinend ng Department of Education. Katulad na lang yung K-12 curriculum na nagta-transition tayo into curriculum matatag. Kasama dito yung child protection policies at environmental education policies. Pangatlo naman ay yung professional development. National frameworks, ino-encourage nila or mandatory ang continuous professional development or ang patuloy na pag-unlad ng mga professionals or CP para sa mga teachers. Pag nag-engage tayo sa CPD activities, natitiyak natin na yung mga teachers ay updated sa mga current trends, technologies, teaching strategies at na-enhance yung kanilang adaptability. Number 4, assessment and evaluation. National frameworks ay nagde-define ng standards para sa assessments such as standardized tests na ginagamit ng mga teachers para i-prepare yung mga students. Yung mga teachers dapat maintindihan na yung objectives at criteria para matiyak na yung students ay nakakasabay or maganda ang learning outcomes at naka-align sa national expectations na biniba sa atin ng Department of Education. Last one naman ay inclusivity and equity. Yung national standards ay pinapromote ang inclusivity sa edukasyon. Nire-require ang mga teachers na i-adapt yung mga methods nila para makater yung mga diverse learners, including yung mga merong disabilities like naka-wheelchair, may autism, at marginalized communities. Tinitiyak nila na walang estudyante ang napag-iiwanan pagdating sa edukasyon. To sum it up, yung mga teachers or educators kailangan maka-adapt sila sa
binaba ng national frameworks and standards para matiyak natin na yung mga estudyante ay nabibigyan natin ng dekalidad na edukasyon.
Next is internationalization. Ang una sa internationalization ay global competency. Global competency, yung mga teachers, dapat na-develop natin yung mga students, yung mga global competencies ng students na nag-i-involve ng understanding different cultures, engaging in cross-cultural communication, na nagpo-foster ng awareness of global issues such as climate change, politics, technology, and human rights. In short, binibigyan natin sila ng awareness sa mga nangyayari sa paligid nila or sa bansa nila. 2. Adopting global best practices.
Internationalization means integrating teaching strategies, techniques, and technologies that are successful in other countries.
Ibig sabihin nito, ina-adapt natin yung mga strategies na ginagamit sa ibang bansa para magamit natin siya na strategy na pangturo dito sa Pilipinas. Ini-integrate natin yung makabagong teknolohiya para sa education sa Pilipinas. Number 3, international educational standards. Many schools and educational institutions now benchmark their practices international standards, such as those from the International Baccalaureate or Cambridge International Examinations. Na-adapt nila yung mga practices sa International Baccalaureate or Cambridge International Examination. So, ibig sabihin, yung mga teachers kailangan maging familiarize sa mga to kasi ito na yung mga standards na nakakatiyak na makakapag-produce tayo ng competitive and high-quality education para sa mga estudyante. Number 4, teacher and student mobility. Globalization in education allows for exchange programs, international partnerships, or virtual learning environments, where students and teachers can interact with peers from other countries, enhancing their global perspective. Isang example dito ay student exchange program. Yung dalawang estudyante na magpapalit sila ng schools from different countries, which is nangyayari sa CLSU yun ngayon na merong from other countries na students na makikipagpalit sila para conduct ng research or mas mapalawak yung mga kaalaman nila. Ganon. Number 5, English as a global language. Yung increasing importance of English in international communication, ibig sabihin nun, yung teachers dapat ina-enhance yung English proficiency ng mga estudyante. Dapat ginagamit ang English as a medium language inside the classroom, pero hindi pa rin dapat pinakalimutan yung local language natin, which is Filipino.
Today, I am fourth reporter, and my report is all about the teacher and the community, and also the teacher and the state. Teachers all around the world have one thing in common, a desire to help every student to learn. Many notes of satisfaction of seeing high bulbs being above the head of each of them as they grasp of difficult concept when they studied. There's also a knowledge or skills that as a teacher we can help student to develop their knowledge or learnings. So being part of a teaching community, it is very important for many reasons, including personal well-being development and career longevity.
According to the article number 3, the teachers and the community enders have 8 sections. Section number 1, a teacher's facilitator of learning and development of the youth by providing environment conducive to such learning and growth. So yung teacher, siya yung nagpa-facilitate para sa learning ng mga estudyante and para magkaroon sila ng development and maging grow sila yung knowledge nila. Section number 2. Every teacher shall provide leadership and initiative to actively participate in the community. So, the teacher daw, siya yung nagpo-provide ng leadership and the teacher, siya yung actively nakikipag-participate sa mga activities in the community. Section number 3. Every teacher shall merit reasonable social recognition for which purposes. They shall behave with honor and dignity at all times and retain from such activities such as gambling, smoking, and etc. So, the teacher, sila yung dapat hindi sumasama sa mga illegal actions, kunwari sa gambling, smoking, alcoholic, like that. And section number 4, every teacher shall help the school keep the people in the community. Therefore, today and understand local custom and tradition in order to have sympathetic attitude and retain from disparaging and community. So the teacher, sila daw yung mga tumutulong sa school para ma-help yung mga people in the community. So nagbibigay din sila ng leadership and also sinisecure ng mga teacher na lahat ng tao sa community is pantay-pantay at walang naiiwan. So section number 5, every teacher shall help the school keep the people in the community, inform about school works and accomplishment as well as needs and problems. So, yung mga teacher daw, sila yung nagpo-provide ng mga needs and ng mga problems ng estudyante kapag may problema sila in academic. And sila yung nag-i-inform sa parents na kapag nahihirapan yung estudyante sa schoolworks, like that. And sila yung nag-support and nag-guide sa mga estudyante na kapag hindi nila alam yung sa schoolworks nila, sila yung tumutulong para mapaunlad yung knowledge and learning ng bawat isang estudyante. So, section number 6. Every teacher is an intellectual leader in the community, especially in the barangays. They shall welcome the opportunity to provide leadership when needed. So, the teacher daw sila yung mga utak ng leader ng community, especially in the barangays kapag may mga activities sa barangay. They given the opportunity then to provide leadership sa barangay, sa community kung kailangan. And then section number 7, every teacher maintains harmonious and pleasant personality and official relationship with other professional with others. So sabi dito, yung mga teachers daw is naka-maintain yung mga humor and yung pagiging humble nila. And syempre, di mawawala din yung pleasant personality nila. Lalo na sa ibang tao na nakakasalamuhan nila in the community. And also the official, kapag nasa labas sila, yung pagiging professional nila is nandun pa rin outside in the community. So lastly, section number 8. Every teacher possesses the freedom to attend church and worship as appropriate but shall not use his position and influence to persuade others. So dito, yung mga teachers is may freedom sila na umattend sa church, sa magsimba, gano'n, and mag-worship. And syempre, hindi nila dapat gamitin yung position nila as a teacher para mag-influence sa ibang tao na dito pumunta na baguhin yung religion ng bawat isa. So kanina, pinaliwanag ko kung ano yung mga section ng bawat role ng teacher in the community. And today, nasabihin ko naman yung the teacher and the state. And we have 8 section also. So section number 1, each teacher is trustee of the cultural and educational heritage of the nation and is under obligation to transmit to learners such as heritage as well as to elevate nation or national pride, love in the country and constitution and respect. So dito, yung mga teacher, ito yung sila yung pinagkatiwalaan na ituro sa mga bata kung paano mahalin yung bansa natin, kung saan sila nagmula at kung paano mahalin din yung bawat taong nakapaligid sa atin. And ito yung obligation ng teacher para alam ng estudyante and para matagdagan yung learnings and mag-grow sila as an individual. So, section number 2, every teacher or official shall actively help carry out the desired policies of the state and shall take an oath to this effect. So, dito, every teacher daw ay actively na tumutulong para ma-get yung mga desired policies inside or outside the community or in the classroom. So, section number 3, in the interest of the state of the Filipino people as much as of his own, every teacher shall be physically, mentally, and morally fit. So, mahirap maging teacher, kaya dapat prepared ang bawat isa. So dito, sa section number 3, sinasabi dito na yung mga teachers daw is dapat may interest sila na pag-usapan yung mga history, maituro sa mga estudyante, ma-engage sila na malaman nila kung ano ba yung mga history. Dapat prepared sila na physically, emotionally, social, mentally, and morally. So, according naman dito sa section number 4, every teacher shall possess and actualize full commitment and devotion to duty. Dapat daw yung commitment nila is doon lang sila nakafocus sa pagtuturo ng mga bata inside the school, and also the responsibility nila outside the school, which is the mamamayan in the community. So dito, section number 5, every teacher shall not engage in the promotion of any political, religious, or other partisan. So dito, yung mga teacher daw ay dapat hindi nag-engage sa ano bang promotion na may kinalaman sa politics, sa religious, and partisan. So, section number 6. Every teacher shall exercise all other constitutional rights and responsibilities. So, lahat daw ng teacher ay dapat i-exercise or gawin yung mga constitutional rights ng bawat isa and also the responsibilities. So, section number 7. A teacher shall not use his position or official authority of influence to coerce any other person to follow any political course of action. So, yung teacher daw ay dapat hindi na gamitin yung position niya as a teacher or official authority para impluwensyahan yung mga tao na nasa paligid niya para pumalaw sa mga politics na sinusuportahan niya. So lastly, section number 8. Every teacher shall enjoy academic freedom and shall have the privilege of sharing the product of his researchers and investigators. They shall be drawn to the proper authorities for appropriate remedial action. So dito sa section number 8, ang mga teacher daw ay dapat i-enjoy nila yung academic freedom, yung break nila, and dapat daw may privilege nila na i-share sa ibang tao or sa mga estudyanteng tinuturuan nila yung knowledge and learnings na meron ang teacher and authorities para i-influence yung estudyante sa tamang gawin, para yung bawat isang estudyante is matuto and mag-grow emotionally, socially, physical, and spiritual. And sa ganun is ma-develop yung learnings and knowledge ng bawat isa.